2021. This hearing is being held as required by the provisions of Chapter 131, Section 40 of the General Laws of the Commonwealth, an act relative to the protection of the wetlands, as most recently amended. Notice of the time and place of this hearing was published in the Advocate on February 4 of this year. It was also posted in the town clerk's office. Persons wishing to be called will be, let me try this again. Persons wishing to be heard will be called in the following order. So first we have minutes for approval from January 26. I had no edits to offer. I don't know if anybody else does. If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept minutes as presented.
To accept the minutes as presented.
Thank you, Everett. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ryan. Do we have any further discussion? So for the purposes of online voting, I'll go across my screen. Ryan, how do you vote?
That's a yes.
Heidi?
Yes.
Everett?
Yes.
That's unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Joanne. Meeting mail. Merrill Lee, do we have any meeting mail?
Yeah, we got one letter from Eversource about right-of-way management. They're going to, trim and cut on the right-of-way 140, which is the one that goes behind Keating and up across Hathaway, that one.
Okay, and do they normally send you a map when they send that letter?
They do. Yeah, they usually have
So
a
often.
map that has the right-of-way on it. You want to see it?
Say that again?
Actually, I don't think I can show it to you because I don't have a camera on my computer.
Right, but I'm just asking, when they send that to you, do they usually give you some sort of a map?
Yes, they usually do.
All right, and I mean, we can't stop them from doing that, but it's just good that you have it. I'm just asking. Any other meeting mail?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Any old business is not on the agenda? Marley, do you know of any?
No, not all business. But Keating is still out there till next meeting. But
Right.
beyond that, I can't think of anything that's unfinished.
In terms of solar properties and all of that, those are moving along. What's the status of those three?
Yeah, the one on Mendel Road at the Girl Scout camp is clearing and getting moving. The one on 88 Wing Lane is moving fast too. And but Park Drive and Morse Plain haven't started yet.
Any idea when those will start?
No, I think the planning board is still looking at stormwater with those.
Okay, that's good. Good to know. The next item on the agenda is for new business is an NOI for Manuel Madruga, Pico Stone, 588 Middle Road, file, and we do have a file number now. It's SE001-560. So notice of intent was filed by Manuel Madruga, Pico Stone, for property located at 588 Middle Road, map 21, lot 9A.15. The applicant proposes to permit the storage of the stockpiles of wood chips, stone, and stumps, and corrective measures to eliminate siltation into an adjacent intermittent stream within the 100-foot buffer zone. The applicant is represented by Christopher Capone. That plan name is Existing Conditions Permitting and Settling Basin Design Plan dated January 26th of 2021. And I know tonight we've had a couple of issues with having to change the Zoom link for this meeting, so it's possible Mr. Capone has not, it's clear he hasn't received that yet, and I know Joanne has tried to get that to him. We can discuss this for a couple of minutes and hopefully he'll be able to join us. We did a site visit out there on Saturday. Actually, yeah, everybody on this call was there. We saw where the settling basins are now and where they plan on putting the new ones, and that they'll fill in the old ones. So they're moving those settling areas away from the wetland flag line. Just, which is a good thing to protect the resource. They also have a variety of piles of stone, wood chip, etc., close to the wetland flag lines, and there are plans for 2 or 3 different methods to, I'll use the word gird the back of various piles to keep anything from running into the wetland resource, whether they use concrete blocks, stone, or anything else they're going to do so that way, as they're trying to lift bits of those piles to move for different uses, they won't get pushed into the resource. And the plan seems like a fairly solid plan. Merrily, I don't know if you wanted to comment on this at all.
DEP had a comment about stormwater,
Okay.
that they were concerned about stormwater from an industrial use. But I don't see how they don't really generate stormwater. I mean, it's a gravel drive,
Right.
so there's not a lot of impervious surface there except for all the stone.
Right. And as luck would have it, it looks like, well, I see connecting to audio.
Hello.
Hi, Greg.
Hello.
Yes, here I am. I finally was able to jump on. I understand your computer issues and not your fault.
Yeah, we ended up changing the link. So we've just started to discuss what we had seen on Saturday and our understanding of the plan. But we're happy to turn the floor over to you to discuss your engineering plan. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. For the record, Christopher Capone, wetlands consultant representing Pico Stone and Imports. Property is located at 588 Middle Road. The property is owned by Donald Catino Trust, and it currently is utilized for a cranberry operation, gravel operation, and a existing solar array. The commission had issued an enforcement action towards Pico Stone about 2 weeks ago for the siltation to an intermittent stream, as well as location of stone, gravel, wood, and stump piles close to the proximity to wetlands. So I was contacted to come in and delineate those wetlands, as we discussed on in the field, rather. Mainly the east side wetland was delineated. The west side had been delineated during some of the solar design. So we propose to you, first of all, to locate the piles, which we show on that plan. We also delineated the wetlands, and the limits of those are shown. And we propose, once these piles are moved, to install permanent 2x4 concrete barriers stacked on top of each other to provide a limit of the piles, as well as a backstop for piles when they're digging into those. Also within this was the siltation in that intermittent stream area that we observed adjacent to the stone cutting operation. As we discussed, Mr. Madruga does stone cutting on site. He tried to utilize the water in a recycling fashion so that he's not using too much water. So in order to eliminate the concerns that were addressed in that enforcement order, we proposed a settling basin to the south of the current location, and along the upland portion that is adjacent to some equipment that was currently there and a few piles of material. This settling basin will be utilized to recirculate the water, as well as allow it to settle so that those particulates are not in there when he reuses the water back around into the recirculating fashion. This was designed to clean out, so to remove the sediments that deposit there on a bi-weekly basis. It depends on how much the operation is being used. Within this activity, we obviously will put some erosion controls. We'll restore the area that was previously utilized for the recirculation of the water. I believe the members at the meeting, at the site visit rather, saw specifically the weird topography of the site, how it was a reused gravel area, and basically the product that's coming off the site, it really wasn't generating into the wetland. It was more a defined edge where there was some minor piles rolling in. So with that said, I think we have addressed the concerns. We have received the file number SE 8001560 from the state, and here to answer any additional questions the members may have.
Mr. Capone, any chance that you have, you have access to a camera and could post this file on the screen?
No, I don't.
Okay. I was looking to see if I had it. I don't have it either. Marilee, you were just mentioning that you had a question, the DEP asked a question about stormwater from industrial use, but as you said, this really isn't generating any stormwater. It's just water coming off these enormous stone cutting saws that settles out, and then the water gets repurposed to, be used on these saws again. So it's not any stormwater being generated. I don't know if you wanted to comment any more about DEP's question.
Well, I don't feel it's an industrial site. In that sense, industrial
Sure.
site has more pavement and more generated runoff during a rain event. A lot of this site is gravel. There is some areas of pavement underneath the mulch piles, but the rest of the property pretty much is contained within itself. So I don't feel we're an industrial type operation, but again, we have taken measures to eliminate the concerns of that discharge. Some runoff off the piles may be, we did see some of that comes off the pile. So we can just make measures to have a landscaped edge or a vegetated edge where we can relatively allow the water to cleanse itself before it ultimately makes it to the wetland.
Do you have any sense of when all this work would start if the project's approved?
Well, with this meeting, I hope we can get the enforcement action lifted, and that way Mr. Madruga can coordinate. That pile in the back was supposed to be gone, and the stump pile, he negotiates with G. Lopes to come in. So I would anticipate, he told me it takes 3 days for one of those piles to disappear. So I would anticipate he could have it moving in an orderly fashion as weather cooperates. And we can incorporate those preventative measures behind those piles at that time.
Marilee, any questions or comments?
Yeah, there was something I was thinking of, but, oh, I know, the soil board. The soil board would like, and this is from a text that I got from Pat. The soil board would like to comment on PICO. Soil board wants the plan and wetlands flagging peer reviewed and the current depth to groundwater. That's a request from the soil board.
Depth to groundwater on the site?
Current depth to groundwater is what he says.
Okay. Well, we did forward a plan to the Board of Health. So if we needed a formal meeting before the soil board, then that's something we would have to initiate.
Well, I believe the soil board has to be involved with something because their permit is expired, right?
Yes, there's a gravel permit that initiates exactly what the Board of Health has control over, yes.
Right. So I'm assuming in addition to that, he wants the flagging and the plan peer review.
That is fine. We have no trouble with that.
2 questions. Mr. Capone, you said that you delineated the west flag line, is that right?
I did place flags on the east and west side, yes.
Okay.
But the west side did have some prior delineation that was represented on that solar arrays design.
Okay, so that was solar.
I have now delineated the entire west side for the whole length of the property, from one end to the other.
Okay, and as far as the east side flagging goes, was that you as well?
Yes.
All righty. So our health agent has asked for a peer review flag line and then also wants to know depth to groundwater. And it sounds like Mr. Capone, you will attend to that.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. Merrily, in terms of process, these are requests coming from Soil Board and Board of Health. How does that impact the way we vote?
Well, it's up to you guys. If you want to have it peer reviewed by a wetlands reviewer, then I think you guys should vote on that.
So this is not Soil Board asking this. This is Soil Board asking us to ask for this. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
All right. Well, in the interest of cooperating with our town boards, I will request, Mr. Capone, that actually, Merrill, are you the one who arranges for the peer to do the reviewing?
Yeah, I can call somebody. Do you have anybody in mind?
I don't. I'll
So they would like a third-party review of the wetland delineation.
Yeah.
And that
I will
is finds confusing to me because the solar array never had a third-party review, or maybe did they?
I don't remember if they
Because
did
that would
or
lock
not.
that side of the line in, because I kind of flagged right along where they had flags. I just kind of closed it all together. Now, if that's what you, if you wish to go to another review, that is fine.
It's an agriculture claim against effective players that the risk goes up. So,
Evelyn, could you mute Peel, please?
Yep, I just can't believe I got in.
So, Merrill, I'll leave it to your experience with flag
Okay.
to find a peer.
Yep, we'll find somebody.
And the depth of groundwater, I mean, that's something that happens for Board of Health, not for us, correct?
I guess. I mean, I've never dealt with that.
Well,
Well,
if I may, through the chair, this is a settling
Please.
basin and not a stormwater basin.
Right.
So a stormwater basin needs to have a 2-foot groundwater separation. This basin will not, because of the proximity. Obviously, we had wetland on the left and wetland on the right, east and west side. So I would assume the water table is
Yeah.
32 inches to 42 inches, somewhere in there. That's my rough guess. So in order for us to be able to gravity into that pond and circulate, we really can't raise it up too high, because then it changes the ability to have it flow back into the system. So, and we weren't designing this to remove stormwater particulate matter. We were doing it to collect the siltation from just the stone cutting.
Other members of the commission with questions or comments on this?
Yeah. All right. So here's my take. This is like a work site. I work construction, and seeing this site, really the only issue that I see, it's just like a housekeeping issue. It's not it doesn't seem like there's like a major neglect or anything that's really crazy that's impacting the wetlands. It just seems like everything was defined, and then based on where the flags were placed, it just seemed like it's definitely bordering everything. But there's no, like, I didn't see anything that was really impacting that was, really brought to my attention. It just needs some housekeeping, and this plan basically seems like it's gonna really create that barrier and maintain it. I like this plan, and I think it's gonna work. It's a really limited area, and That's all I see. And then based on the plans, I only had one issue with the plans, and it said in the notes, it said entire area is located within the 100-foot buffer zone, bordering vegetated wetlands and or isolated wetland. And then the seventh note said no refueling of vehicles is allowed. So that would mean nothing would be fueled in that area, which is basically probably impossible because I'm sure you need to fuel minis or whatever, Bobcats or anything on site. So my only recommendation would be to just, set up some sort of containment area to fuel those vehicles, because I'm sure it's going to happen at some point. Other than that, I didn't see any issues with the site, and I think the plans will, putting the blocks in place and then siltation devices. I think that'll work for this situation.
Heidi or Everett?
I think I agree with Ryan as far as what he just stated. It looked like a good project to me. It looked like a project that needed to go forward. I think that it shouldn't be held up any longer than necessary, and it should get done, because the sooner it's done, the safer it's going to be for everything in the environment.
Mr. Capone, when did you do this flag line?
Before the snow, so I'd say 10 days ago.
So it's as recent as a flag line could possibly be.
Absolutely, yes. I jumped on it as soon as they got the enforcement order.
I think the plan said like the 21st or something like that.
Correct, I would
Of
agree.
January. So I mean, it was recent.
17, 18th, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
Okay. How many years have you been delineating wetlands?
30 plus years.
Okay. I'm confident with this flag line. So I'm going to entertain a motion to issue a positive order of conditions for 588 Middle Road, Pico Stone, as presented.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Heidi.
Can I
Any
make
further-
one suggestion before you finish up?
Please, we're at the discussion point.
Could you condition it so that the basins get cleaned out every couple, weeks or months or whatever, so that that stuff doesn't pile up?
Sure. So so we have a motion and a second. This discussion, we have a request that there be perhaps maintenance every 2 months to take silt out of these settling basins so that they don't fill. And the other condition I would ask, and we ask this all the time, is that when work starts, that the agent is notified of the work.
That is no problem. We agreed to those conditions, as well as what Marilee had mentioned. We do need to clean out the ponds on a biweekly basis to keep the water depth in order to be able to function. So we will be doing that in accordance with her suggestions.
Great. Everett?
Are we going to require them to put a fueling deck in, as Ryan suggested?
You say a fueling deck?
An area where if there is a spill, it'll be contained when they're fueling.
Yeah, not even a fueling deck, just some sort of
Yeah, a berm on a cement pad or something.
or whatever, or a sock, so that if there is any spillage of fuel, they're obviously going to fuel on site. I mean, every job site gets fuel on site. You know what I mean? They're not gonna load the mini on a trailer and take it off site to load it and then bring it back every day. You know, something containment of filling if they do. You know,
Agreed.
that would be my suggestion. You know, other than that, I don't see any issues. Yeah.
Mr. Capone, it sounded like you wanted to comment on that.
Yes, I fully agree with the members' concerns for the fueling. I can say that the stone operation is run by a generator and fully electric. The only fueling would be the skid steer equipment that are moving the product to and fro. So yes, we can make measures to have it contained in an area that's safe, having preventative measures on hand in case there is a spill can certainly
spill kit.
be, yeah, exactly. We can certainly have that installed and be on site and used at a moment's notice.
Good.
So we have a motion, we have a second, we have discussion. So we have conditions that the agent be notified when work starts, that once these new basins are in, that they be maintained every couple of months, 2 months, so that they don't fill. So that way, obviously, they function at the highest capacity, and that there be some means of protecting runoff from fueling into any of the wetland resource. So we have those conditions, and just to be clear, I'm overriding the request for a peer review for the flag line because it's a new flag line done by someone with 30 years of experience. So I'm comfortable with that flag line. Any further discussion?
Move
Okay,
the motion.
want to go across?
Let's move the motion.
Okay, yep. Ryan, how do you vote?
Yes.
Heidi,
Yes.
Everett,
Yes.
Evelyn,
Yes.
that's unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Capone.
Thank you very much for your patience and the difficulty we had starting the meeting. And I appreciate all your comments, and I enjoy working with you guys. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Mr. Capone. Okay. Life and
Thanks.
work happen, you know?
Yes, sir. Have a good night.
We fight our way through it. Okay, that's it for new business. So for discussion wetlands bylaw, I guess we will hold that off because our subcommittee chair is not with us. Hunting on conservation land, I have nothing new. Merrily, if you have any feedback from any town committees or boards?
No, I haven't heard anything from anybody. I'll ask again.
Keep on nudging. And as we've commented in past meetings, we know that, you know, it's months away now from the next hunting season, but we certainly know that without any natural predators, you're going to cause more problems. And we just want to codify that we can hunt on town property and conservation commission property. I don't know, Ryan or anybody else, if there's any more to say about that topic, or have we exhausted it for a while?
Oh, it's not exhausted until it's stamped.
But we don't have anything new to add, do
No,
we?
no, not yet.
Okay. Merrily, I see filing deadline on here.
Yes, that's Joanne's purview. You want to tell them about it?
Sure. In communication with the South Coast Media Group, I have encountered issues where she is on a tight schedule, so the Friday deadline doesn't seem to work anymore. She's requesting the ads to be there on a Thursday, so I was speaking with Marilee about moving the filing deadline date to 11 o'clock on Wednesday. That will give me time to actually prepare the notices and RDAs for publication and get them down to her, and that leaves her time to lay them out and get them done for us for the advocate. That's it. That's my request.
Okay. That seems to work for me. If it makes it possible for you to do your job, then that's what we should do. Any
Yeah, I'm
objections?
looking, it's going to help the woman that prepares the ads more, you know, gives her ample time where she's taking on additional work, different, you know, advertising stuff. And she was expressing to me that it would help. So I agree, it would help me too.
Okay. Any objection from anybody on the commission?
I'm good.
No,
Okay.
no, just a question.
Full support,
Is-
Heidi, Joanne. Okay. Agent updates.
I think Ryan had a question first.
Yeah, I had a question. Is the Advocate, is that the publication that Acushnet residents read the most? Is that the case?
That's the one that the town has contracted with, and we get a fee to place the ads, at a reasonable cost for everybody.
Yeah.
So that's what we use.
Okay.
And I also spoke with Mary Lee that in this coming week, I would email all the engineers that I have email addresses for and notify them that this change will take place. And we'll get the assistant executive secretary over there and the board of selectmen to actually add it onto our website too. So we'll try to get as much notification out there as we can. And like Mary Lee said, we'll work with everybody until everybody gets used to the new change.
Right. I just didn't know if there was another publication that Acushnet residents read instead of that. I didn't know what. I never see the Advocate.
Right. I believe we can use the Standard Times in emergency, but the ad rate is a lot higher. So ever since I've been here on the first time of conservation many years ago, we've always used the Advocate. So.
Right.
This the other option would be Fairhaven Neighborhood News, which
Right.
usually have
Right.
stories, but you get the town of Fairhaven in the name of the publication. All right. Merrily, anything else for agent updates then, or anything for agent updates? Thank you, Joanne.
Sure. Marilee? Oh, she's disconnected.
Hold on.
Oh,
I'm
there
back.
she goes.
Sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Agent updates, please.
Oh, okay. Agent updates. The big thing right this minute is there's a lot on Robinson Road that's building without having filed with us, that's soaking wet. So I would expect to see that come in soon. Beyond that, it's just what's been permitted as far as I know. Like I said, the solar farms are getting going, at least on Wing Lane and Mendel Road. And, there's houses in process, but it's pretty slow this time of year. So nothing outstanding.
Okay. Anybody else with business for the commission?
Well, there is one thing coming up I should tell you guys about. The town is going to do a MVP grant, which stands for Municipal Vulnerability. I forget what the P is for. Preparedness, I think, grant. And so it looks at resiliency, and it's the first part of it is a planning grant, is a planning process. So some of you may be asked to participate. It'll be during the week, probably for 2 hours at a time. So I'll give you more information on that as I have it, but I just want you to know that that's coming up. And that's about it for me, I think.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else with business for the commission?
I got an email from MACC talking about April classes. Marilee, I just want you to let me know which ones I need to take to get the core classes.
Oh, okay.
That I'll need for this next one, so I can get those under my belt. Other than that,
Okay, I'll look into it.
Thanks.
No problem.
You're staying on there, Ryan. Thank you. Okay, so our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, February 23rd at 6:30. We know that we have PJ Keating coming back on the agenda related to the silt piles and maybe this project on Robinson Road. And we'll see what else comes in. So seeing that there's no other business for the commission, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Everett. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Heidi. Okay, all in favor, give us a wave. All right, meeting is adjourned at 6:44. Thank you.